today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we actually have like a special edition episode. We rarely do one-offs, but there's a reason we're doing one, and the Beard's going to explain what we're doing.
Kind of a jumping on the bandwagon kind of thing. The top 10 of 2020. So 2020 is over, but not too long ago. So we're ending this on a positive note. Because I think overall 2020 for us, as far as the YouTube channel went, there was a lot of really kind of cool stuff that happened. We had our 19 conversation series, was very cool. Yep. Lots of great guests, and we've had a lot of gear go through. And so these are the 10 things that I don't want to say like the best, but these are 10 things that we really, really like. That
they all stood out for one reason or another.
Yeah. They had to be a video. They had to be a product that was a video we released this year. Mm-hmm. So if the video came out sometime in 2020, it was fair game. So the first thing, we're going to send it over to Pat.
Yes. The first thing is the Ages from Walrus Audio. This pedal wound up on my board. I've been trying to cover more sonic territory with drives. I was always a high gain kind of guy. Tried to find some, dare I say, transparent type overdrives or whatever. But this has 5 modes in it. And you'll never guess what mode I picked. I picked the high gain, one of the high gain modes. I think they said it was thick and chewy, and they weren't kidding. And this is what it sounds like. So that was the Ages. Another great thing about this pedal, I've referred to, seminal moments in the show, and this was only the second time ever that we had a pedal before that was released. So our video that we shot came out the same day as the big YouTubers and all of the other reviewers. So we were very honored to do that, and we thank Colt for making that happen. Mm-hmm. He was really gracious after we had interviewed him to be like, all right, hey, I'm going to send you something. So that was a great moment for us, and it has wound up on my board, and I do enjoy it a lot.
And I want to say that was a hard pick, because we've had the Monument, we've had the Mako, we had the Slow, we've had several Walrus pedals this year, and it was almost like flip a coin between a few of them. So that was a really hard pick.
Let's just say I had to stop and pull it off my pedal board today to bring it over, so that'll tell you something.
Right. So my first pedal that I'm going to share, no surprise to anybody that's watched the show. Speaking of cool things that happened in March, right before March, we got to sit down with David Barber. Yep. We've been using the original Barber Electronics direct drive on the show since the very first episode. And so for me, I couldn't let it go by without putting up the direct drive version 4. So we got David Barber making some pedals again. He's gotten that supply issue straightened out. So direct drives, gain changers, tone presses, hopefully some Exacta fuzzes soon. The burn unit that he's just made a smaller burn unit. So check out David Barber. Here's the direct drive.
Another highlight of 2020 was forging a relationship with Ryland Morgan from Scattered Abroad Guitar Works. And we ended up getting 3 different pedals from him. And the one that I'm featuring now is the Fuzzy Fox. Mm-hmm. And here's a sound clip from that. Interesting pedal. Obviously, had it set probably more to fuzz on that. You can see when I rolled the tone back, it got very quacky and very spitty and sputtery, and then got really maybe Hendrixy at the end. But there's also some really interesting, like just overdrive sounds in this pedal. And we also enjoyed the Angry Alpaca and the Hungry Panda from that series as well. So it was great to have made a relationship with Ryland this year. He's been very generous and kind to us. And
one of the few fuzz pedals that you get, that type of fuzz pedal that I feel like you get more of a sweep with the knobs. It's not like you're locked in to just kind of full up.
Right.
Speaking of fuzz, another person that we were introduced to this year is Tim Lewis over at TL Pedals. He has a great line of pedals, so we started out seeing a few of them. There's the Honker, which we liked a lot. There's episodes on that. There's the TL Pedals Tremolo, which we had a prototype of that tremolo that he got us for the show. Another great pedal. But the one that I want to share, and some of these that we're sharing today, we're sharing because they're getting used. Like they're ending up on pedal boards. And so on my pedal board, we were playing outside all summer long. Ended up on my pedal board almost all summer is the Stinger Fuzz from TL Pedals. It's just a killer pedal. So we'll give you a clip of that.
Another great moment this year was to be able to get in this signature analog pedal from Hamstead Soundworks because it was kind of a twofer. Like we got to interview Tim Steer from Hamstead, British accent. Could have said anything he wanted. It was brilliant. But it was great for him to do an interview with us about this pedal and about the amps and things that they make. But really unbelievable sounding tremolo. And I'm not sure if this sound clip does it justice, but here it is. Again, I think when we interviewed Tim, he said he used the word lovely several times. And so every time we play this pedal, we're like, it sounds lovely. And we put it on the Brody board. Our friend Brody did a couple fly dates and came to the area. And he really liked it. He has a Caesar Diaz like I do, and he really loved this pedal. Hamstead makes some unbelievable stuff. And happy to have this.
So up next, I mean, from the Tremolo series, maybe from the Leslie series, but I think most or all of the Leslie series was done prior to 2020.
I feel like it was.
I feel like it was too. And another thing was we were trying to get pedals that are available for this series. All right, so we didn't want to pick like used pedals that are no longer made or something like that. We wanted to pick pedals that you could still go out and get. There was some Leslie stuff that happened in 2020. Right at the end of 2020,
right.
This showed up, but I don't know that I can share it because it didn't make it onto the show until 2021. So look for it next time. Although I am just going to throw a special shout out to the guys over at Donner Prince and the Pulse. I would not be surprised if this doesn't live long enough in the memory to make it on Top 10 2021. So Donner Prince. And the only reason I can cheat a little bit is because the one that does make it this year, because the video came out this year, was the Keeley Electronics Rotosonic rotary speaker pedal. That sounds a little bit like this. That was the Rotosonic, and the reason it was kind of fair to let the pulse slide in a little bit is because, yes, it's still available if you're lucky enough to find when they do a run and get it before it sells out, because it sells out really quick. And Pat wants me to make sure I point out that this is a custom shop limited edition because he loves stuff like that.
I'm shallow like that. Ask anyone who knows me; they'll tell you. Another tremolo that was in the series is the tremolo from DLS Effects, from Dave Sestito, who has been also very kind to us. He's done 2 interviews, I think. At least 2 interviews with us. Really great guy. This is a fantastic tremolo. Again, I say it again. I had a Caesar Diaz tremolo. That was my introduction to the tremolo world. And when we plugged this in, it sounded great. And here's the sound clip for today. So that was the tremolo. Now, the nice thing about this is I think sonically it sounds great. When I switched it off my board and put this on instead of the Diaz, there were times that Jason couldn't tell the difference. But this has some really great features. The tap tempo was the first time I'd ever played a tap tempo tremolo, which was a bit life-changing. Even though I could kind of get away with the push-pull, this is really nice. And just the way that he's done the shape knob and a tube warmth, and there's a lot in this pedal. It's
set up a little different than a lot. It's not like you just switch between sine wave and it's set up a little bit different. Put it this way, we did 30 tremolos, and there are some really great, excellent, amazing tremolos in the series.
Right.
But that one made it on the board.
Yep.
And that one's been on the board, and I think it's, well-deserved a place on the list.
Yeah, it sounds great. So thanks to Dave.
Next for me, one of the things that happened during this year is we formed a relationship with Morley based on the fact that I've loved Morley pedals for 15, 20 years. I've been using their old Bad Horsie wah. And so Morley, we worked with them a little bit, and we have the new Morley Bad Horsie 2020 wah. And I'm going to be honest with you, the reason that this one is on the show is because the wah lock is on my pedal board and my other pedal board, and it would be a real hard toss-up for me to decide which one.
Right.
I like them, both. The Bad Horsie or the wah lock, both excellent. So the new 2020 series is awesome. That internal buffalo is awesome. These are great. Sounds a little bit like this. So that was the Morley Bad Horsie wah. Sorry, we weren't able to get it in frame, but we have the box.
He even had appropriate footwear on. It would have been a perfectly fine shoot. We just didn't feel like setting up another camera with the other stuff we were doing tonight.
And the AB boxes we've been using, the ABY boxes for the amp, and there's some. If you haven't looked at Morley lately, you really ought to do yourself a favor and go out and do that. So next we have, that's our 8 pedals, but pedals aren't the only thing on the list. So number 9 is going to be the Tyler Ampworks JT22, which has been used in countless numbers of videos and has been in every clip that we've shown so far. So that amp has just totally blown us away. I know that you're not necessarily, wouldn't expect a small box, 112, 22 watt amp to blow you away. And everything we play on it sounds good, and it sounds great.
Sounds great in this room. Sounds great mic'd up.
Right.
So it was a win.
It was a huge win. So Tyler Ampworks JT22. Number 10.
Yeah, so we did kind of a welcome to the show for the Tyler, and then we just were, we do a lot of pedals just because guitars are not as easily attainable as pedals. And we thought, what kind of interesting guitar could we get in to use for different things? And so reached out to Rivolta, and they helped us out by getting this Mondata 8 in. Really beautiful guitar. And it has, 3 mini humbuckers and obviously a lot of different pickup selections. And so it's been kind of versatile for us. We've used it a lot. I won't say it's the official guitar of the show, but it's pretty close. I mean, it's one that it gets used a lot.
You gravitate towards that a lot.
Especially when we're doing a series. Like when we did, the Leslie series, we try to use the same guitar so we'd have same similarities. And so that's kind of what we wanted to do with this, but it's certainly been used on way more than just the Tremolo series. So, very happy with Rivolta, and, more to come from them.
I would say that guitar exceeded all expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we knew it would be good.
Right.
But we both really like it.
It sounds great and it looks great. Like, we thought maybe it would look better just hanging up, right? But it sounds really good and it's really versatile. And Jason has kind of got me onto the magic middle pickup. The pickup that some people don't like in the 3 pickup selection, you have the opportunity to just isolate it. And it's a really interesting blend. I mean, obviously it's an interesting blend. It sits between the neck and the bridge. And it's got some of those characteristics. It's got a little bit of the brightness of the bridge, but the fullness of the neck. It's a really...
With drive, too. Drive, fuzz, or whatever.
It really stands out then. So, the Rivolta Mondata 8.
And I've used it live. I mean, it's spectacular. So, we're blown away by that. So, all of these things have made it into, like, high use, for the most part. I think maybe 1 or 2. We haven't had the Rotosonic that long, so it hasn't...
Right.
But... Anyway, I think there's one more thing. And so that's like that. And we like to talk about stories, like how we kind of form relationships with the companies. We like stories behind gear and all that. And so I think the top story of the year, right?
The top story for tonight.
Yes.
I'm showing my age.
The top story of the year, I think we both want to give to...
Do we flipped a coin whether it's artist of the year or pedal builder of the year.
Right. Artist, pedal builder.
Yeah.
Story.
Yeah. New artist.
I think we're going to give this to Brielle Lewis.
Yeah, I think we should.
Right, because we have here 2 pedals. This is the Brielle Boost. Mm-hmm. You can't see that drawing on there. And this is her Fuzz.
Right.
So Brielle's Fuzz. How old?
I think she was like 9 at the time.
Yeah, so I think she's at least 10 now.
I think she's done.
I think she had a birthday. I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Brielle, happy birthday.
Yeah.
We missed it.
Did you like what we got you?
So, but she's building pedals with her dad. She's into it. He's helping her out. She draws the artwork on it for people. Mm-hmm. We just think it's so cool to see somebody that young getting into it, and would love to see where that goes for her someday. So
maybe that makes Tim Dad of the Year as well.
Dad of the Year. Yes. All right. So I think with that, that's it, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to do it kind of quick. We always like to take a minute and pause and just say thank you to everybody that's subscribing, clicking the notification bell, hitting the like button, leaving comments down below, Instagram or Facebook. Anytime you interact with the show, it really helps us out. We really appreciate that and appreciate you for doing that. And I think with that, and Pat doesn't have a guitar.
If you notice me kind of looking around, like kind of panicked, I don't know what to do, but I can do this. I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. I don't know.